What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you the Benimaru deck that James played for this week's Retro Round 4 Campus Championship. Retro is an event that, or a format that Jask was trying to make, and they're making an entire online tabletop simulator event for it. On July 18th, there will be a link for that in the description down below, as well as a small ban list, because Retro is a format that lets you use all cards that Jask has ever printed, from the original Red Horizon set all the way up to our current Libra of Souls set, plus all the legal DLC that exists. Not to mention a small ban list, like I said down in the description. But this Benimaru deck is really cool. It's really interesting and uses one of my favorite cards in the entire game. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the deck. All right, so if you've never seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what I'm going to be doing is, as opposed to reading off the cards verbatim, I'm going to be telling you more about how the deck wants to work and the jobs the cards have inside the deck. And so what does this Benimaru deck want to do? This Benimaru deck wants to stun out my opponent's entire board. And that's pretty much it. It wants to play some really cheap, really good attacks. And then if it can, commit his character, smack you with the thing, and then get that little extra poke in. This character is really rad. I like the fact that he gives stun 1 or +1 to your stun rating. And so, like, if my opponent has a way to cancel it, like a revoke or something, I could have given it an additional stun 1 as opposed to increasing my stun 2 into a stun 3 and getting the whole thing canceled. At least I got some value out of it. Or for his ability, I can turn a stun 2 into a stun 3 and then get +3 to my check. Really cool stuff. So let's jump into the profile. So the first attack that we're playing under the fire symbol is 4 Shadow Slicer. This card's just a staple, one of the strongest cards in the entire game printed right now. It's just 24 damage on an attack, and then they all have stun 1, including their 6 after 6. Really easy to toss this once your desperation is like your third card. Check a bunch of rolling 5s, and then enhance commit, get a little extra boost to my checks. Up next, we've got 4 Chasm Buster. This card is like the OG Shadow Slicer. It's also a 4 mid for 4. You pay 2 for it to get 2/2 and stun 2. It has a block. It is a 5 diff. I think the card is, it's got the exact same value as Shadow Slicer, right? It is just as good. Up next, we're playing 4 Takedown. This card just says if it's not blocked, you get to find another attack. If it's not blocked, it says draw an attack card. Pretty good. We were also playing 4 Explosive Brace. This card is just discard 2, draw 2. There's a little filtering, a little cycling, making sure that I can find the pieces that I need. And the last attack that we're playing is 4 Flame Aura. This card is just a hella good block card, and it's a 5 mid for 4, and giving that stun 1 is actually insane. It's really strong, just giving this thing stun 1. On to the actions. The main reason that James loves this character so much is one of his favorite King of Fighters characters is actually this card right here. 4 Flirtatious. It says if your stun attack deals damage, you just get to draw 2 cards. If your opponent's female is gender, you get to discard up to 2 cards from your card pool. So what you do is you just toss any attack that we want out. We give it stun 1. It smacks them. I just turn this card into 2 cards. And if they were female gender, or if they don't have a gender, the game assumes the worst possible outcome for my opponent, and then I just discard 2 cards out of my card pool and then continue playing the game. Just a really good +1 that exists inside the deck. So onto the foundations. We're going to talk about the aggressive foundations first, one of the best foundations in the game. If you notice, all the attacks that we played were all 4 damage. And so that means that we get Robot Masters. Enhance check of 4. This deck is 1 damage and stun 1. Only playable if the attack's current damage is exactly 4. And so the way that this card works is I will play I'll play my attack. It's 4 damage. I'll play my Robot Masters. I'll check my 5. It works. Its attack will go up to 5. I cannot play the other 3 Robot Masters in my staging area because this attack is 5 and it has to be a 4. If I have a way to reduce that down to 4, I can Robot Masters again. But the point is that I can either give it stun 1 and then +1 of the stun rating, or give it stun 1 and an extra stun 1. There's just a lot that we can do inside of with Robot Masters, and it turns all of my attacks hitting just a little bit bigger. Next, we got 4 Soul of the Sword. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck for +1 damage. Really good for finding Shadow Slicers as well. Great spam card. We're playing 4 a worthy vessel. Pay 1 life for +2 or -2 damage. So it's either pay 1 for -1 damage, essentially, or it's a little bit of a disruptive card of enhance flip, remove a card from my opponent's discard pile. It's either discard pile, but really it's just our discard pile. Up next, we're playing 4 aggressive temper. This card says if it hits the discard pile during the enhance step, this attack is +2 damage. And so during my my Robot Master's triggers, during the explosive brace discard draw, or during the Soul of the Sword, if I discard it into my discard pile, then an extra 2 damage, making my attacks hit just a wee bit harder. Up next, we're playing 4 Blood for Blood. This card says, I pay 2 Vitality. If you block this attack, you're going to take 2. And so it's very much one of those best while ahead cards. If your opponent's at like 6 Vitality and you have 3 of these out, you win the game. It just scales really, really well for the amount of damage you can pop off with it. The next aggressive card that we're playing, and the last one, is 4 Born from Destruction. If you have a copy of the card removed from the game, it's a +4 or +1/+1, +4/+4 if you've got all 4 of them. And then it says enhance commit. If you've taken damage this turn, you get to draw a card. And so the other combo with a worthy vessel is you remove one of your attacks that you know that you're going to be continuing to play, and then you just play more Born from Destructions. Onto Flow. We've got 4 Folktale Storyteller. This card says that I take and replace a card from my hand and basically just add it into my staging area. And this does work on block. If I got 2 foundations, I just play it into my card pool and then bring it down. Really good for fast, aggressive turns. We're playing 4 the Azure Nightmare. This card says I can discard a card out of my hand and ready it back up. Really good for that aggressive temper for the +2 damage. And really good for, like Folktale Storyteller, pushing out really aggressive turns. We're playing 4 a Shooting Star. This card is a lot like the Azure Nightmare, but it says response commit after my stun attack, which all of my attacks are stun attacks because I'm Benimaru, deals damage. I can either draw a card or ready a different foundation. I can discard momentum and ready this guy. And so like just saying that like, oh, I smacked you, I'll draw 2 cards. Oh, I found more gas, I'll discard a momentum and ready it back up. It's just really, really solid. And then the last card that we're playing is 1 Undying Rage. It's just enhance commit, add a desperation card from the top card of your discard pile to your hand. Really good, really good for picking up Shadow Slicers. And so there you have it, James's Benimaru deck. This deck is really fun. It does have a bit of a block the last one, possibly get backswung problem, but if you can figure that out, then the deck is going to treat you really well. Giving all of your attacks stun 1 is really good. I mean, Zhang Hua is good, and she only gives stun 1 twice per turn. He says on every attack that you can play, an extra stun or plus to your stun rating. If you like this deck, make sure you check out all the matches that Benimaru got to play in this week's Retro Campus Championship, as well as all of the other deck profiles that we have on the channel for Retro. Don't forget to sign up for that awesome tournament. And then join us live every Tuesday at 6 o'clock on twitch.tv/TCGUniversity. As we record these lives, we'd love to hang out and chat with you as we play some awesome games. And my very last thing is, if you like the content and you feel like supporting us, please go out to patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Sub out there at least the $1 level. Get access to the Discord as well as a bunch of other awesome content. And make sure you talk to me about your really awesome Benimaru decks. I would absolutely love to sit down and have a conversation about this spiky-haired guy. So, from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching, and stay learned.